Hi, my name is Winsley, and welcome to this week's video on Age of Wonders Planetfall. We are going to deviate from the normal beginner's guide where we talk about an aspect of the game because, well, this week we just got a really cool teaser, and I saw some really great discussion on what the teaser could mean between Mr. No, who is with us today. Hi there, Mr. No.
Hello.
And some
Hey.
other people that we know. Sinsling, you and him were talking a lot about what this potentially could mean. It seems like a pretty good puzzle, wouldn't you say?
It's been interesting at least, yes.
It's not immediately obvious, and I think it's a trickier puzzle than the one that they gave us for the Invasions DLC. But yeah, do you think we should just show off the thing, or what do you would
Yeah,
you
go
like to
ahead.
say? Cool. So yeah, that's it
It's
right
the
there. It's 14 seconds. It's a cipher wheel of some kind, and I think it's a little bit trickier than the numbers that they hid in the last expansion because it was just kind of like a tricky font to read, right? Am I remembering that wrong? You were just looking at the
yeah,
last teaser.
it was hard to read and you had to like tilt your head 90 degrees to the right because you read it top down, right to left. But yeah.
This one seems to
So
be
this is
using
gonna
hexadecimal or maybe something like that.
Yeah, so the first giveaway that it's probably using something in hex is that if you look at the dividing lines around the circle, there are exactly 16 sections that it's split up into. Now, at first, there was a bit of confusion about how to interpret that as hex, what these symbols actually meant. And you might notice that in the on the current paused video, it's like up and to the left of it. There's what looks like pretty much a C and like a U or a zero maybe. So what uh, what Tibbles from the server pointed out was that if you take the image and you like rotate it about half a segment to the side, all the segments that have two pieces in them will actually line up to make a different character. And here's the image that she so kindly provided for us.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see the C and the zero are still there, and around the circle you have roughly 4, 5. Oh god, I have to rotate my head for this. 4, 5, 9. Can't quite tell what the bottom one is supposed to be.
I think that's
B probably.
it might be a
I think it
one
looks like
or
a
B.
B.
Oh, that could be. I think that's B. Yeah.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. I should say to read this, you want to look at the ones with like the characters that have the highlighted bits because that's just where she's taken the symbol on the right and superimposed it with the symbol on the left.
Oh, that can't be
So like
B
with the
because B's up in the top left of this image.
oh, so it is. Oh, it's D.
It's
It's
D.
capital
Yeah, it's
D.
capital D. These are capital letters.
Um,
But it's
Something that's cut off by
basically
your the
one
bottom.
one
Yeah.
through nine and then A through F. Does that sound right? You got
Yeah.
those
And
16
those
things.
Yeah, those are the digits that are commonly used for hexadecimal representation, especially in code, but in general as well. Um, so the basic idea behind hexadecimal is that it's a base 16 system, and you can convert it to decimal or use it for other things. The most common place that I find it is that you usually see two hex characters next to each other, and those come together to make a large enough data set to produce all the characters that computers can print. That's kind of specific to my industry, though. So, yeah. So the as the circle spins, it's sending out these beams of light along the 5 specific values. So the first one is C, and then I probably should have had the sequence ready.
I think it's 3
It's
after that.
C3.
And then I'm pretty sure it's 5. Yeah, I wanted to make
Yeah.
sure I knew it.
Oh wait, no. C5.
The 3 and 5 look pretty similar, so it starts with
I think it's
C.
C3583.
Yeah, that sounds right. 3, and then this
Yeah.
would
Okay.
be 5, and then after that is 8, which is a weird one. That one I didn't quite see immediately when I was looking at Tybal's image. 8 is a
Yeah.
bit funny looking.
It doesn't line up too well, but given that there's a 3 directly to the left of it, it's the only character it could be.
Yeah, and then yeah, it goes back and repeats the thing that it hit earlier, which is 3. So it's C 3 5 8 3. So I put that into this little converter to put the hex number into decimal value, and we got this
And
number right there at the end. And I think you can explain what that calculations are, how that corresponds to the letters and numbers on the left a little bit better than me, given your background.
yeah, so okay, so there's a lot of stuff about interpreting numbers written in base 10 that we don't really think about. Like if you look at the number 114, it's just 114. But if you want to like convert something in a non-base 10 to base 10, there's a pretty universal formula that goes for all of them. You start at the rightmost character, and you take for each digit, you take the digit and you multiply it by the base to some power, and the power starts at 0 and increases by 1 every digit you go to the left. And yeah, so you multiply digit by base to the power, and you just sort of add that to a running sum, and that's how you convert to decimal for the most part. So there's an example at the bottom of the screen here, the decimal calculation steps. So
Mm-hmm.
at the bottom, you can see that the rightmost number is a 3. Okay, so starting from the right. You can start from the left if you want to. I just find it easier to start from the right.
Yeah, I think that is
So
easier.
starting at the rightmost digit is 3. The rightmost position is the 60 is the base to the 0 position, no matter what. So it's 3 times 16 to the 0. Anything to the 0 is 1, so it's 3. You add
Mm-hmm.
that to the running total. You go to the left. 8 times 16 to the 1 is something large, 256, I think.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
8 times
add that
16.
to the sum. Yeah, add that to the sum, go to the left. 5 times 16 squared, 16 to the third, 16 to the fourth, etc. Oh, I forget if I said this earlier. So because we're working in base 16 and we're so acquainted with base 10 that we never use symbols for larger than it that aren't just combinations of symbols in base 10. We have special characters to represent the various values greater than 9 for higher bases. So in base 16, we use 0 to 9 to represent the same 0 to 9 as in base 10. And then we add A through F representing 10 through 15.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that 12 comes from in the C position down below.
So if this was
Anyway,
like A3583, instead of having a 12 in that first step, there would be a 10, I think. And because it's a C,
yeah.
it's a 12. So yeah,
Yep.
I think after looking at this little breakdown of it, this whole process makes a lot more sense. Because like, what does C3583 mean in terms of release dates? That doesn't mean anything to me. A series of numbers is far more useful. Now, the result we get here isn't useful by itself. 800131. I think you even said that you looked at this number and said this can't be the answer. That doesn't make any sense,
I
right?
looked at this and said, like, it's not the year 30, it's not the 80th day in the 1 month or the 31st year or anything. It's not useful in that way. So I looked at this and discarded it after 5 minutes. But someone in the Discord,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still beating myself up over this. someone in the Discord said, "Well, what if you just flip it backwards?"
Yeah,
And
Leon.
so yeah, Leon Fergus, I
That's
think.
right. Mm-hmm.
Um, so if you flip it backwards, you get 13, 10, 8, which looks like the correct date. Well, it looks like it's saying possibly day 13, month 10, time 8, something like that. It's not year, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So the working understanding right now is that something's coming on the 13th of October, possibly at 8 o'clock. I'm not convinced of that, but it could be. It just seems weird to specify a time zone when which time zone are we talking?
Yeah, right. I don't know what the 8 could mean, but I think the 13th makes sense to me because I'm pretty sure they do a lot of their promotional stuff on Tuesdays and they release a lot of their stuff on Tuesdays. So maybe they'll do like a little trailer on the 13th and then release the actual DLC a little bit later. We were saying right before starting recording that we don't actually think the DLC is coming out too soon. Is probably going to be a little while based on the release schedule of Invasions, right?
Yeah. So for Invasions, the trailer gave the date. Sorry, the teaser for that gave the date of the trailer, and then the actual DLC released like over a month later or something.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the trailer was April 16th, and the release of the DLC was May 26th.
Right, and I'd be a
So it's
little
probably a
surprised
while.
if they did the big species pack for Stellaris and the third expansion for Planetfall within like a week of each other. I mean, who knows? They may be trying. This might be a great time of year to release games because it's right before the holiday season. But I have a feeling that we'll probably get like the species pack in the near future. Although I don't think they've announced exactly when it's coming out. They have said it's coming out in October, and then we'll get whatever this expansion is going to be in actually November.
Seems pretty likely.
Yeah, I like this teaser because it's got to be tied to some of the content. I think it's reasonable to assume that we're going to be dealing with something that uses a similar color scheme. It's going to probably have a lot of gold in it, right?
I hope so. It's very pretty.
And that reminds me of Celestian. I think that we might have some cool Celestian style stuff coming. I don't know. What did you think when you saw like those colors and the spinning wheels and like the mechanical side of that all? Because it does seem to be invoking something mechanical, right?
Honestly, the first thing I thought was this looks like Stargate.
Yeah, me too. 100%. It felt like they were opening up the Stargate off to another planet
Yeah.
with the chevrons locking into place, taking you off somewhere else. So it'd be cool if there was some kind of like new teleporter. Who knows what's coming? Um,
I'm not going to be speculating quite yet, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
we should know soon.
Briefly, yep. I will briefly note that. So we looked at the outer ring for this thing, and if you would go back to the image Tibbles provided,
Right.
or this, either of them. So we looked at the outer ring. Now it's an interesting feature that the inner ring spins independently of the outer ring during the video.
Mm-hmm.
We
One
always
goes.
line up the like dividers right before it highlights something. Um, so I haven't looked at it in a few days, and I'm not convinced there's anything else to find here. But like, I just look at the interior ring, and we've seen a couple ways that you might be able to encode information in there. So, in the same way that uh, the outer ring was in hexadecimal, I tried looking at the inner ring as binary, and so each of the ring segments is comprised of a bunch of like V's or triangles, and the triangles either open toward the inside or the outside. and there are always exactly 4 of them in each image, or sorry, in each segment. So that could be encoding a 4-bit string, but I just haven't found a way to interpret it yet.
That seems a
Other
bit
people
much.
suggested
That'd be crazy if they put
it
that in there.
really does. I think it's probably my brain going into overdrive. Because the basic rule of the teaser like this is that it has to be whatever the data is stored in has to be something reasonably accessible to the average user, and the average user probably doesn't have their brain looking for binary patterns in images.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the other
100%.
thing people suggested the other thing people suggested was that there might be something in the in how far they rotated relative to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think someone transcribed those at some point, and nothing ever came out of it.
Yeah, that's a lot of numbers, and it's hard to like see how you're supposed to like compact that down into a date. I mean, the fact that the the sequence of numbers that you highlight from the outside gives you something close to what could be considered the right answer is very like it seems like that's the right path, but who knows? There could be something that we're
Yeah,
missing, and it's just like for some reason lining up so conveniently close.
it's just weird that that the wheel would spin. That they put such an intricate design in the wheel. Every one of those segments is unique, and they all have exactly those 4 triangles or 4 V's. Um, but yeah, there's I think I went through like 7 different ways of trying to interpret them as binary, and nothing popped out. So I'm not worrying about it for now.
Yeah, I'm ready to say that that's just like some intricate design to make the puzzle more interesting to look at, to maybe throw you off from what you're actually supposed to be looking at. I
Mm-hmm.
know that there were some planets in the background. I can't quite see them in this image, but maybe if I go, yeah, to there, I can see that
Yeah.
there's like 4 planets, and I thought for a second maybe that's important, but somebody else was saying I think that's just there to make the image more interesting to look at. So maybe there's more to it than just there's 4 planets, but I think now that it's just kind of like a red herring or something like that.
Yeah, I feel like it was probably just meant to be a like decorative in the star field, maybe. I tried looking at them to see if there's anything obviously poking out. Like, is this the hint that we're getting the orbital layer finally? Um,
That'd be pretty
but no,
cool.
there's nothing obviously sitting on any of them that I
Yeah.
could see.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to really make anything out of what we've gotten here other than there's circles, there's triangles, and some puzzles, something not quite obvious. So it's got me excited, and I'm really glad to see that it's got the community stumped and not just me. It's not just like something people figured out in overnight. So I gotta applaud the devs and everybody over at Paradox for putting this all together.
Also, I just love that their Twitter after they said this. What they had like right after they released this, their next tweet was, "So yeah, how's your day going?" Wink.
Yeah,
Like
but
they're mocking us.
pretty cheeky.
That's absolutely what they're doing.
They knew how good it was. They had to. To be honest, if I was in their shoes, I'd probably do something similar. Cause like, what else are you going to do?
But yeah, thank you to the various community members that helped put this together. Thank you, Joyce, for providing, or Tibbles for providing that wonderful image. Leon for recognizing that you can reverse text. Um, and Sins for being as insane about this as I am.
Yeah, and thank you for joining me here in this little summary of the whole discussion of this cool puzzle. I've really enjoyed putting this together. I don't think there's anything else that I can really add here before we wrap this up. Anything else you want to
Yep.
say?
No, that's pretty much it. Thank you for having me.
Cool. Yeah. See you around.